Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, and we're presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. That's right. Go to TrueMark.com/PHLY to check out the credit union difference today. All right, lots to get into, right? Like we talk about, I'm a big believer in sleeping on the loss, or sleeping on a game. Because especially a Monday night game, a primetime Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, the next morning you're so emotional, and this is how we consume sports, right? We're emotional, so it's just hours. You're just talking hours since the game, so now you get a full day and a full night's sleep to kind of think about it and kind of look at it with fresh eyes. So after doing that, and I'll watch the tape today, but after looking at it with fresh eyes, here's the truth. The truth is, offensively, I believe they're going to be fine. I mean, offensively, they still have a great O-line. Hurts looked spry, right? It looked much better physically. He had bursts. They're going to get A.J. Brown back. Like, their offense, Barkley is a stud. Offensively, the Eagles are going to be fine. The true worry, and forget about decision-making and, whether or not you throw on third down and you run and you kick the field goal and all those, football elements, which is really one game. And that, you can debate either way. If you're going to look about this team and how good they can be and whether or not they're a true Super Bowl contender, the one nagging thing is the obvious. It's the defense. And, that was a big part of yesterday. And after fresh eyes, it's still a part of it. You look at it and you have to generate some sort of pass rush. And that's my biggest fear, is that this defense is a lot like last year and it can be their Achilles heel. Now, I like the young secondary. I think the young secondary, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to grow together. I think they're going to be better. The worry is how good your secondary is, no matter how good your corners are, if you can't get any pass rush, it's hard to cover in this league for that long with these receivers and these quarterbacks. It's hard. And to me, this whole thing is going to fall on Fangio's lap. And Vic Fangio, who likes to play, and you saw it on Monday night, there were not a lot of pressures. There was the one pressure that stood out that resulted in the Mooney touchdown, which I thought was a missed tackle that helped aid it, but the long touchdown, and it felt like Fangio really turtled up when it came to the blitz and started to play it more safe, right? Soft zone. Keep him in front of you. And that's fine if you can generate some pressure from your front. But we talked about Bryce Huff, and we talked about Josh Sweat, and we talked about Nolan Smith. And it's hard, man. If those guys aren't getting any pressure off the edge, I don't know where you go other than blitz. So Fangio, to me, is the big key. If I'm going to circle one name, it's Fangio. He was brought in, a veteran guy. He's been in the league forever, right? He's seen everything. Now it's up to him to adjust, because he's going to have to adjust with his personnel. And if he can't get home, if they can't get home on the front, he has to devise pressures. He's going to have to blitz. And look, it's one game. It's early in the season. They're still trying to figure out who they have, what they have. There was no preseason, right? So they're still looking at that thing. The obvious is, all right, how do we attack going forward? You have an amazing offense that you're to face on Sunday. This is a true barometer for Fangio, knowing that Carr is more mobile than Cousins, but not the most mobile. Knowing that they have a great back in Kamara, knowing they have a speed threat in Shaheed, a great receiver in Olave, and they're very creative in the run game, right? You got fullbacks and you got slot receivers. You got all kinds of weapons from the Saints. You're playing indoors. You're playing them off a short week. So this is a Fangio game. I'm fascinated to see how he comes out and tries to attack the Saints defense. That's going to teach us a lot because we see the deficiencies and it's in his lap to figure it out. And sometimes this is where coaching comes into play, where you can mask a weakness. And look, they're not going to be good unless somehow there's some sort of, Jalen Carter's a beast and Jordan Davis shows up and, the ends start to get pressure. Assuming that's not going to happen and they're going to be a minus for the season, this is where Fangio has to scheme it. And it can't be because it can't be this, glaring weakness where they're just going at you all day long and the quarterback's got all day. And the other problem is they weren't good against the run. Against Bijan, he was ripping off big runs. So if you're not stout against the run, you need to be stout in one area, whether it's run or pass, and then focus on the other. So Fangio has a lot of work to do. This is in his lap. He sees what he has, and he's going to have to try to mask it. We always talk about the joke of the earrings on a pig, but that's what the task is. You can't be giving up, oodles of points. It'll just be disastrous. So if you forget everything, you boil it down, and you forget everything from Monday night, right? All the analytics piece of it and everything else. Because that's all just an argument, right? It's all a debate. It's a fun debate. But if you look at how good, and we're going to analyze how good this Eagles team is, it comes down to defense. And this defense has to be better. And they got two big tests because after New Orleans, it's Tampa, it's Evans, it's Godwin. We saw Baker Mayfield pick them apart in the playoffs last year. So you got two major tests, and you can't go 1-3. You got to find a way to win one of those games. So we'll discuss that today. Also, there is a bright spot, and it is just getting me geeked up. Last night in Milwaukee, the perfect tonic, the Phillies. That's right, the Phillies, VG. I love the dancing hat because I was dancing on my own last night. Bryce Harper, another home run. Bryce heating up from the power side. Wheeler's awesome. I mean, how great is it to just, it's win day when Wheeler's on the mound. He was dominant last night. You're putting a nail in Milwaukee. You're 2 up on the Dodgers. You had the tiebreaker. You're looking great. The magic number. They can clinch tonight. I love what Harper said after the game. Well, with his listen, we got a little something. If we clinch tonight, we have a little something we can do, but we're not going to go crazy. And I think you should celebrate. You win a division. That's a big deal. And you somehow the 1 seed, that's an even bigger deal. But you win a division, it's a big deal. They're playing great baseball, and they're back. They're arcing perfectly towards a Red October run. I'm geeked up over that, so we'll get into that as well. Good morning, VG.
So glad you referenced that song because I listened to it on my way in today.
Did you really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm geeked up. We got one win to go to guarantee postseason play, and that's special.
It really is. They can clinch the division.
When today is the postseason, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
And then the division comes after that, maybe. But it's just one win. They're in the playoffs. That's a big deal. It stinks when you're not in the playoffs.
Think about this, and we have endured no playoffs for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, we've had it many years.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
losing its franchise in North America
right.
still.
I mean, you go from the big droughts, right? You go from 93 to 07.
Right.
Right? Like, that was a
23 years.
And that thing spanned
that's 60
the decaying veteran stadium
Yeah.
to the pristine Citizens Bank Park, right? Charlie Manuel, Larry Boa, right?
Yeah.
Like the managers. And then in comes Charlie, and you make the playoffs. And then again, from after 2011, we go from 2012 to 2022.
Yeah, decade.
Another decade.
With no playoff baseball.
I mean, that's two major chunks of time from our lives. And, I love the baseball playoffs. It's probably my favorite playoffs, that in the NBA, because the games change so dramatically. Football, it's just like the regular season, right? Every game matters. So it's always played at a heightened level.
Yeah.
Whereas baseball and basketball, the games change. Like, you go pitch by pitch.
Pitch by pitch.
Oh, my
it's
God.
the best.
The drama of it. Yeah. Like, there's great drama.
Yeah.
And watching all those playoffs, I would always get jealous when the Phillies weren't in it. And this group is a blast, man. And they have the best record. They have a real chance. It's going to be a fun postseason, man. I'm really geeked up over it.
I'm super geeked. And like you said, even when you go to a pub and they have the game on during the playoffs, it's silence. Like every pitch, a little chatter, but as the pitch comes, it's just...
You feel the tension.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things about... That's why I love sport. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I love it more than I've ever loved it. I love the drama of it. Like, whether it's a rush up ice on a power play, right, in the playoffs, and your heart is in your throat, right?
Yeah.
Or it's this pitch, it's 2 on, right? 1 out, second and third. And whether you're at the plate or you're on the mound, so much is on the line, man.
I love the
maneuvering,
maneuvering, bringing in the reliever, what pitch hitter you're bringing in. I love it all for playoff baseball. So I'm really like, it's a good day. I'm feeling it. I'm funny because I felt like a loser, laying this song on my way over here this morning.
I feel too. Look, let's be real here. We're always trying to look for fun, and we're always trying to look for a positive kind of spin. I am. I just look. Sports is supposed to be this, right? Community, family, fun, right? That's what it's supposed to be. And part of the whole living it the way we do in Philadelphia is, the good and the bad, right? Like the Eagles game Monday night, which started out so great, and it was electric, and the crowd, and Nick Foles, and Jason Kelsey, and it was just a blast. The 10-minute drive, and the crowd's going nuts. And then it's the loss and how we react to it is it's all part of the life that we choose, and we choose this sporting life. So let's get back to we want to feel good, and we feel good about the Phillies, especially since we're licking our wounds off of Monday night. I'm a big believer, VG, in fresh eyes. When you sleep on it, especially after a late Sunday night, Monday night game, and we're back. And we're reacting emotionally. It's our base instinct the day next morning. 2 days later, you have a chance to kind of sit back and analyze it. And how I do it, I throw out all the Saquon play, the drop, the analytics, go for it, field goals. I throw all that out. And I look at it and I go, all right, who is this team? And I come to the conclusion that I think everybody does, and I don't think this is a hot take, that offensively they're going to be fine. There's some wrinkles and stuff and some stuff to iron out, but they're going to be fine. Jalen had burst, right? There's some good things. He's got to button up his decision making. But other than that,
they fixed the blitz. It seems like
there's some good things, right?
Yeah.
And you get AJ Brown back. That's a security blanket. I feel good about the offense. Like, Barkley's a stud. The O line is great. I feel good about the offense. I don't know how you overcome a front. And really a front seven.
It's a front seven, yeah.
But especially a front that can generate no pressure.
Well, guess what? It wasn't Sean Desai and it wasn't Matt Patricia. It's the talent here. The talent apparently stinks on the front seven. They're giving up 6.4 yards per carry. It's still worse than football. So they can't tackle. They can't generate a pass rush. And they got young guys in the back. And the young guys in the back got exploited towards the end of that game. I saw Jason Avant break it down, and they attacked Kenyon the last couple plays.
Yes.
And he was doing inside leverage and
Yeah.
giving up the sideline and stuff and
Yeah.
going for a guy in the flat. So
No, he saw the running back in the flat.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw this.
they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's our fire alarm. We're going to have going off throughout the show.
Yeah.
Our apologies.
Poor JP.
It's an alarm.
JP, Andrew's off today, and JP is producing and already doing a great job. And he's got to deal with building maintenance and fire alarms and all kind. And there's a speaker, so when they're talking, yo guys, shut up! We're trying to do a show.
If we could
Be
play,
quiet.
music, it'd be great to play the dance on my own every time the alarm went off
I
today.
know, it'd be awesome.
It's called Wednesday, guys.
It's called Wednesday. Thank you, JP. Feel free to chime in, buddy.
Absolutely.
And already you're doing a great job, man. All right,
Appreciate that, cuz.
I root for you. How about it? JP's one that
You want to see succeed.
you root
Yes.
for him left and right because he's just a great dude.
He's the nicest
Appreciate that,
kid,
guys.
nicest kid to his parents.
Like, he's the best.
Mm-hmm.
But you make a good point. Like we all talked about Desai, we talked about Patricia. The talent is just not there. And look, the miss were the Georgia boys, and I'm all about it. I loved it. I thought it was good. I mean, the Jordan Davis pick was a little, I was a little on the fence with, only because he profiled more as a run stopper and was not going to be on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of worse
Yeah.
than I thought because he's not effective. He's not impacting the game.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't really generate anything. No kind of surge, nothing there. He's just, and when he's on, he's barely on the field. And things like Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean. I mean, there's a reason those guys dropped, I guess. We thought we were like salivating. Oh, what a steal. We got Nolan Smith at 31? This guy's a top 20 pick. Like, no.
See, the problem is, right?
He's not.
You look back and you go, I mean, there was a reason to feel that way. You feel good
Is it the
about it.
system? Is it the Georgia system that's so effective?
Well, part of it is the system. Part of it is, what the other thing is? They have a legion of top defensive players in the country. Right? So when you put them all together,
Yeah.
right?
You can't double any of them.
Right. They're all going to be impactful, and you don't have to wear them out with snaps.
Right.
And because you got blue chip, kids coming up, they want to get those kids some snaps.
Yeah.
Right. So meanwhile, they're snap kids. They're fresh. You're talking fresh legs of studs, of all Americans at all times. So that automatically. So the system's a part of it. But these are elite players coming out of high school. Now the transition is you got to play a lot of snaps.
Right.
And this is what we're seeing. Like, it's one thing. Like if you have Jalen Carter in the middle, then Nolan Smith's going to have a much better chance in college.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Off the edge. And when you're playing that next to 10 other studs,
Mm-hmm.
right? It makes sense. You just got to hope that I'm hoping that somehow Nolan Smith can find his sea legs. They need somebody to step up off the edge. We've been waiting for Sweat for a while. Huff. I mean, he's not even setting the edge in the run game.
No, Huff is a third down or a second and long
is.
specialist. That's it.
He's a pass
He's not a
rush.
$51 million guy.
And he's not getting home.
No.
Right? Like that's a major problem. So
And that's against tight ends. I was looking at some of the game film yesterday. He's struggling against tight ends, man, one-on-one.
I know.
That's not great.
No, there's a lot to be concerned with that front. And to me, listen, I think the back end, like Kenyon's going to be great. He's one of those players. And I don't know about you, but I look at players and I go, he's a stud. He's a player.
Yeah, you
he's a
can tell.
winner. He'll get it together. Like, so in that play that you referenced, toward the end of the game on that last drive, he's paying attention to the back into the flat. Now, he'll learn not to do that.
Yeah.
Right? He'll learn about outside leverage, right? Like all that stuff, he'll learn. He'll pick that up.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him at all.
He's going to be a player. I have complete faith in Kenyon Mitchell.
And he's the opposite of the Georgia guy. He's the only stud on a terrible team.
Toledo. Well, not terrible.
Yeah,
but,
you know what I'm saying.
But
So,
not
they're not a powerhouse.
They're not right. Toledo, obviously a MAC team.
Yeah.
So you have those issues, but it comes down to I think the back end's going to be fine. I think at some point Cooper DeJean will be a player. I like him. All right, he's got to figure it out. It's a big learning year for those rookies, right? So that's the back end.
But like you said earlier, you could have Eric Allen and Deion Sanders. If they got to cover someone for 6-7 seconds, nobody can do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my biggest fear is I don't know how you're going to generate any kind of pressure, because who steps up other than Jalen Carr being superhuman, and he hasn't been superhuman in the first 2 games, and he's been doubled a lot.
Right.
Somebody's got to do something off the edge. I mean, the only one who flashes is BG, right? And how much more are you going to put on his at this age?
Yeah.
How much more are you going to put on his shoulders?
I do believe Jalen Carter's a player. He's just doubled constantly, and
I like Jalen Carter. I do.
He's just playing with nobodies, and he can't generate anything. I mean, he's getting so much attention, and I'm surprised how much doubling he gets, because he hasn't put up crazy numbers. But other defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators know he's a player, so he's doubled almost every other play.
Like, you can look and you go, all right, what do I need to do? All right, I'm clearly, I don't want the big kid in the middle to disrupt my offense, right? So he's my we circle player, right? Like that. How do they do it, right? Like those circle guys, and they'll go, all right, we need to stop him, right? So we double him. That takes care of that, and then you feel confident in your matchups everywhere else. And this goes back to Fangio. So this is why I think everything, whether or not they are a true Super Bowl contender, is going to come down to Fangio. Now, I don't know, maybe how he makes a move for an end, whatever. Put that to the side. It still comes down to Fangio and how he schemes this thing. The earrings on a pig syndrome, all right?
What is that?
Like, that's what we're dealing with. It's you got to dress it up.
All right.
You got to dress it up. And this is where a defensive coordinator who's been in the league forever, right, spent his life in football, has to be
right.
Like Sean Desai, not going to do that. It's first year as a DC, right? Matt Patricia couldn't do it, but this is the task for Fangio. And
is he up to it?
I don't know. I mean,
like, is this his swan song? Is he at the end of it and he's not up to it? I mean, this is the test, right?
Well, this is it. I would think if anybody would be up to it, it would be Fangio, because he's got all those years of experience, and he sees it. Like, he sees what we see, and he knows he has to mask it. And I see one way, and I see you have to start blitzing. I know he doesn't like to do that. He likes to keep teams in front of him. The bend but don't break. And look, that was on display for much of the game Monday night. The 2 field goals early, right? Like they were in the red zone, Atlanta, and held them in 2 field goals. And that's what that defense is supposed to be.
Maybe he's worried about the cover. Like we saw on that touchdown pass, they blitzed, and CJGJ, he let the guy cross his face and wide open. I mean, it's tough to defend. They didn't get home. But here's the thing, though. You if you're going to look at risk, right? Everything's risk or reward, right? With Saquon throwing the ball, the whole thing. You have to put some sort of risk, and you have to trust your back end. If you give it up, you give it up. But you just can't allow what happened at the end of that game be a regular occurrence. You can't allow Kirk Cousins, who's coming off an Achilles, who's still getting his footing. You can't allow that kind of clean pocket. Yeah. I mean, at this point, maybe Devin Weiss is a terrible practice player. Maybe he hates practicing. I don't know how it can get worse if you throw him in to see if he can generate some kind of pass rush.
Well, I mean, he's a linebacker, and you're going to blitz
with him.
But he's got to blitz. Fangio's got to blitz.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my.
But on that touchdown pass, they did blitz, but they didn't get there.
The one,
yeah.
But they didn't. He didn't send any. I went back and looked at the last drive. He didn't send any pressures the whole last drive.
I don't know if he must have. It must be a reason. He's not a moron.
Well, here's what he's thinking. I'll tell you what he's thinking. He's thinking, all right, they have no timeouts. All right, they have to score a touchdown. That's why you kick the field goal. It's to force them to score a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So he's thinking, I keep everybody in front of me and I keep the clock moving. Right? That's what he's thinking. Not risk with a pressure, and the pressure gives up a chunk play. The problem is, there was some covered stuff, but also he had plenty of time. And that was where the problem came.
But that was
it's like you got to pick your poison.
That's in that final 2 minutes, but he didn't really blitz the whole time. He blitzed the
one game.
Yeah.
The one.
Yeah, so I don't understand
the one Mooney play was the only time he blitzed. But you got to pick your poison at some point. Like you got to go, all right. And it's funny. Most DCs in that situation don't like to blitz because they're playing the clock game. But you know who does? Spags. Yeah. And I bring him up, and I hate to bring him up constantly, but I learned, that sort of defense from him and that mentality. And that mentality wins games. Like you look at last year, the Chiefs win the Super Bowl on the backs of their defense.
Yeah, they were aggressive. And we're saying Huff is a third and long, second and long specialist. But we knew they were passed. Everyone knew they were passed. And that's a pin your ears back and get at it. And even in that situation,
that's the point.
He was futile.
I know. No, I know. All right. Lots to do. Old wisdom with Steve Monterano.
Love it.
Is coming up. And the brain. And then Kevin the Gandhi.
Yeah.
We love Kevin. And then we'll have some fantasy stuff. The Geek will join us, the whole thing. But let me tell you about Empire. It's Empire Flooring. Man, I got to tell you, Empire, best place to get new flooring. They have, I know there's a lot of copycats, but they can't beat Empire today on quality, service, speed, right? So they advertise low-quality products that simply won't carry. Empire today won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about value, right? Forget about the cheap stuff. Talk about value for the good stuff, all right? And this is where Empire comes into play. Like, they're going to assess it. They're going to find out your budget. They're going to look at your flooring, and they're going to give you the best deal for quality, all right? And they're going to do the job incredible at Empire today. They just live flooring. Their virtual floor designer is a great way to see how the new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture, and instantly you're going to see how the new floors will look in your room, and it changes the whole feel of it, right? The whole feel of a room changes with the floors. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHLY and you get $350 off. All right. Big deal. Empire.
Glatt Hair Restoration. Welcome to the program. So you've probably heard about Glatt Hair Restoration. And if you're bald like me, I'm sure it's on your radar. Here we go. The Morgenstern Center for Orbital and Facial Plastic Surgery has recently welcomed the Glatt Group to the practice, creating an invaluable opportunity to leverage Dr. Glatt's high-caliber brand and to begin an exciting new chapter in Dr. Morgenstern's highly respected legacy. Dr. Morgenstern is a nationally recognized specialist and among the few surgeons in the country who is trained in ocular facial plastic surgery, facial cosmetic surgery, and general trauma surgery. And as a true advocate, we are excited. We are excited to have Johnny Marks in the house, who's had experience with the Glatt Hair Restoration. And here's a little bit about these guys. So this was established by the late, great Dr. Paul Glatt. It's now under the Morgenstern Center, under the direction of plastic surgeon Ken Morgenstern. And what makes these guys better is you get the same peerless approach to care, same expert team, same unmatched Glatt system, and the same state-of-the-art location and same stellar results. Under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern, each member of this exceptionally trained team brings over 30 years of industry experience, and hair restoration is all this team does. They don't do anything else. This team, hair restoration only. Anyone can buy equipment and say they do hair restoration. Only the Glatt Hair offers decades of proven results using innovative approach and delivered by leaders in the industry. Glatt Hair can help in all stages of hair loss with leading-edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy, non-invasive TED treatments, vitamin supplementation, topical and oral medications, PRP and stem cell restoration, and hair restoration surgery. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment. Patient advocates work with you from the first phone call to the last follow-up visit. And Glad Hair isn't just about restoration. It's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glad Hair is the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit gladhairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
There you go. Glad. Love it. All right. It's 9:30 across the Delaware Valley. This portion of the program brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. The Brain will be joining us momentarily, but it's time. Do we have my man? Yes, we do. It's time for Old Head Wisdom.
Old head.
He's the greatest. Listen, he didn't want to do this, all right? I want to do this every week because I love Steve Martirano. He was of all the people, and I work with some incredible people, I love Stevie.
You guys were great together.
I love him. I mean, and no one is smarter. Seriously, he's going to poo-poo it, but he's one of the most intelligent people I've ever came across in my life. He's a brilliant man.
And solid hair. Facial hair,
yeah, I mean,
hair. He's on point.
Listen,
he
he's a
looks
living
great.
guy.
He's like
he likes his hair and his linen and
like a Marlboro man almost.
But
the only thing I agree with here is the old part. The other part is total bullshit. But I will say this much though, and I mean, with all due respect, I'm happy to say that I don't need most of the products that you've just pitched.
You got good
mine
right there, buddy.
Mine. That's a burden. It's a burden. I take care of my hair for all the bald guys like your partner there. I do this for you, my man.
I appreciate it. You got to cherish it while you got it.
All right. Anyway, thanks for inviting me. Again, this is going to be a one and done because I'm getting less wise and older every day. So you know what I mean?
Anyway, you are a man of wisdom, and I believe in wisdom. I believe in life. When you live life, you gain wisdom and you gain perspective, and the town needs it, Stevie. All right, you're a rabid Eagles fan. Of all the teams, he's Eagles first.
All right,
he's always been Eagles, like an Eagle, and that was a difficult loss. It was a beautiful night that started with Foles and Jason Kelce and a celebration and included a 10-minute drive, and they lost. And the town is really upset right now. They're in a bad way.
Well, the town ain't wrong. The town ain't wrong. As far as I'm concerned, when you dragged me in here earlier a couple of weeks back, your guys asked me how I felt about the new coaching staff, and with you want to talk about a little foresight. I told you that they have set this thing up to fail. They have set Nick Sirianni up to fail. There's no other way. If they do well, it's because of the new coordinators. If they do badly, he's the head coach. That press conference yesterday when he got snippy and said, I'm the head coach, is he calling those plays at the end of the game? What's going on?
No, it's not.
There is a cloud hanging over this team that's going to be there until they fix what's happening on the field. And what's happening on the field is, I hate to sound like I know what I'm talking about because I don't. But I'm telling you, Barkley did us a favor when he dropped that ball. Because had he caught it and the game's a winner, everything else is overlooked. Oh yeah, there'll be some There'll be some passing references to know this or know that and a bad decision here. But you know how it is, a win's a win, right?
Yeah.
He drops the ball and suddenly everything else is revealed. And what's revealed is they've got no pressure on the quarterback, and that's the kiss of death in this league. They have nothing, and they can't stop the run.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right, because to your point, if he catches it, the last drive never happens, right? The Eagles take a knee, it's over, and we don't see Cousins go the length of the field and without any timeouts with ease and score. And I'm with you. I look at it and I throw out all the decisions, right? Whether you throw it, whether you kick the field goal early, throw all that out. It boils down to, this defense is a problem because And then I go back to it's going to be up to Fangio to scheme it.
Well, you're right about you throw out the other stuff because the other stuff is actually fixable. Because the other stuff is basically judgments that were wrong.
Yeah.
You make mistakes in judge. When in the NFL did it become smart not to put points on the board? I don't care what position in the game you're in. What was that? So anyway, those are decisions that you look at during the week. And you go, well, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. But when you look at the defense here, I mean, they got a world-class secondary, but I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, that's our building, Stevie. They are testing the fire alarms.
That's our wisdom meter. You just went off the road.
So,
the wisdom.
let me ask you a question.
You maxed out on wisdom. Back it off a little bit.
So let me ask you a question. Does that mean the fire alarm works or the building's on fire? Hey, by the way, did you say the geek is coming in?
Yes.
Yeah. Zed is dead. All right. Anyway, look, you throw all those dumb, bonehead decisions out, and then you're faced with, well, we can't stop the run. We can't stop a pass. I mean, you're going to coach that up this week. You're going to get the kid Carter to prove he's not a bust and start playing football. What are you going to do? The linebackers? I don't know what they're paying Huff to do, but by the way, I grew up watching a guy named Huff play linebacker, so I know the difference between this Huff and that Huff.
And you did a lot of huffing in between.
Yeah, you want some old school stuff. There used to be people that played linebacker. Well, you guys are old enough to remember. We had great linebackers in this town. Not anymore. And we have nothing up front. Nothing off the edge. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You can't win in this league if you can't press the quarterback.
How do you protect yourself as a fan? All right, you look at this season, right?
Well, drugs and alcohol always work.
Oh, nice, my man.
You look at it and you go, we wait all off season. It's the longest off season, and we always say football. Cannot wait for football. And then it's here. It's week 2, and they're 1-1, and you're staring down the barrel of the Saints and Tampa on the road. I'm not ready for this team not to be a Super Bowl contender.
Well, too bad. Oh, too bad. Now, on the other hand, there's the baseball team, which I've never had more fun watching a team. I spent more time watching this team than I have anybody in the last 25 years, including, the great teams. I love them too. But this team these guys are different. When they stink it up together. When they win together. It's just been a fun experience. So we have them, and it's going to be, I don't even want to say it, but it's going to be a fun October. It really is. The baseball team is special. So we'll, I know it doesn't make up for a football team that may disappoint us, but, I'll take it.
Well, you're right about the Phillies. I mean, I love Bryce Harper. We talk about the superstars and all. There's something about Harper that is such a soulful player. And you're right about the clubhouse. They are a together bunch. Schwarber is the leader of that stuff. And there's something about a team that is that tight, that is that close together. They always talk about welcoming in the young players and providing an atmosphere for young players to feel comfortable and produce. That's a special thing that you can't just go, I'm going to trade for this guy. It's something about melding of personalities that you can't even the best GMs can't replicate.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for the way these guys come up from AAA and produce, and that has to do with the fact that they, everybody wants to get to the bigs. But this team, you get there and everybody embraces you. I mean, legend guys making hundreds of millions of dollars, treating you just like everybody else. That's got to make you want to stay with the club. So when I see what Stevenson went down again, it went down yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Well, somebody that that must be tough. That must be tough. They're up there killing themselves trying to make the postseason roster because they want to be part of this team.
Yeah.
So it's just been a lot of fun, and we got to take our pleasure where we get it, where we can find it. So let's, listen. Maybe the sky's not falling on the team, the football team. We'll see. But God bless the
Well, you got to
Phillies.
feel good about their offense. I mean, listen. I
No
think their offense-
no doubt.
Like when AJ Brown's back, this offense is legit. I mean, Barkley. I mean, I know how much you love running backs and you hate the Giants. And Barkley comes here, and I mean, jeez, forget about the drop. He's a marvel to watch.
He's great, but you can't outscore. If it's predicated on outscoring teams, it's going to be a slog. You got to play defense. You still have to play defense, and so we'll see. Maybe they'll get it. Maybe they'll get it straightened out. You know who's lurking around the edges of this franchise.
Belichick.
He's
lurking. Coach Darth.
He needs to come back triumphantly, and he's looking at where's the best spot to do that. Where can I show Brady and the rest of you that I can win without Brady, just like he could win without me? And I think he covets Philadelphia. I think he sees a lot of potential there.
He did a whole dissertation on Philadelphia on the Manning cast.
Yeah,
He's
lobbying.
He's at NFL Films. He's in the belly of it. He's talking about Philadelphia fans. I mean,
hey, by the way, don't forget where Jeff Lurie comes from, and the team he wanted to buy before he got the Philadelphia Eagles, which was the New England Patriots. The guys from New England.
Yeah.
I'll bet you he just genuflects when Bill walks in the room. So the whole thing's kind of weird. There's a bad vibe around this team. Hey, I'll tell you something else.
No, bad vibes.
There is a bad vibe.
No, am I right? It's not. I'm not putting it on them. But again, I said this before. They never explained last year, not adequately. They never explained it.
But can we forget about last year? Because
not when I see it again. Not when I see it again the next year. How can I forget about it?
Well, Jalen looks different than last year, so you could, No, listen, I hear you. I mean, defensively, it does. It's reminiscent defensively.
Okay, all right.
But your point, Belichick, it's like you're looking up, and he's like the specter that's hovering over Lincoln Financial Field, like his big head, right? You can see it through the cloud. The clouds make up Belichick's head.
He needs 14 wins to catch Shula.
And let me ask you this, to throw more juju in the pot here. If that's true, and I think it is about Belichick, what's the effect of the two superstar coordinators that were brought in there who must have thought, well, if anything happens to Nick, I'm next man up? No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not next man up. Not if Bill wants the job.
Well, it would be more. I mean, Fangio's not looking for, he's not looking for a head
coach.
Yeah,
he's a little down the road. But anyway, it's just a weird vibe. I hope they overcome it because as you're right, I love football. But again, thank God for the baseball team.
Old head wisdom gives us Red October.
I need a blunt after listening to old head wisdom.
Blunt.
Now, this is Mr. Gummy, right? Like the Mr. Gummy VG, it finds his best.
It's medicinal.
Oh, is that right? No, it is. It's also a sacrament, depending on what church you go to.
On that note, old head wisdom, we love you, Stevie.
Later.
See you, pal.
I'm out. Bye.
He's the greatest.
Call me, I'll call you. Hey.
He's the best. I mean, here's what I don't want to believe. Not after 2 games.
Right.
That this thing isn't just a race for Belichick, right? Like this thing isn't like, all right, well, the thing goes south and we know that the ace in the hole is Bill. Like I listen, I think Bill's a great coach. And if this thing went sideways, I don't care how old he is or what the deal is. I would want Belichick. Like I feel comfortable with Belichick. I'd want him.
I mean,
I'd seek him. But I don't want to talk about that after 2 games.
No.
Like, that's why I think this is, I still think it's salvageable.
Well, the league's not great.
Well, that was my other point I was going to bring up, which is there's flaws everywhere.
Yeah, you got a chance unless things really go off the rails.
All right,
and if they do, that's malfeasance on Jeffrey's part, and he should have made a move in the offseason.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to even think about off the. I don't think it goes off the. I don't think that they're. I mean, we had Angelo Cataldi on, right?
Yeah, yes.
And Ange
5 wins.
said 5 wins, and I'm like, come on, man. Like I love you, and I know you're doing your thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
right.
you know, they're not a 5-win team, right?
I don't think so.
Now,
But
I don't know. Could they be a 9-win team? Maybe.
But we even had Bo Wolf said anywhere between like 6 and 13 wins. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk to Bo on Friday. All right, time out for the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
He is our analyst, our betting analyst, and our sportsman.
yeah.
Because while we talk about the games that he likes, we talk sports. And because you're a lover of sports, where are you, buddy?
I'm actually in Margate right now, of all places, Anthony.
You look like ominous with the light bulb behind
No.
that light behind
Well,
you. Doesn't he look
Yes.
ominous?
Yes. The light behind
I mean, look,
creates like a glow.
the Eagles defensive line needs help. I'm trying to look threatening. Maybe I'll get signed.
Yeah.
You know what brain reminds me of? Like a guy at the bar in the corner with like the horse racing magazines out and just crunching numbers, and you pop down to him for like a good 15 minutes a night just to see what he's thinking about the world and sports. Yeah.
I get it, man.
All
I
he
get
needs
it.
is like a
I get it.
turtleneck. And if he has the turtleneck, like in the pub, like it would fit perfectly.
Yeah.
Still time.
So how do you look at this Eagles Saints line, which is now what it was 2.5 and jumped.
It's moving.
Right? On the Bet Park Sportsbook app.
Well-
How do you kind of look at this?
Well, look, you look at a team in New Orleans who's arguably been the most impressive team through 2 games in the NFL, right? Okay, you could argue that. Carr led 15 straight scoring drives, which I never thought I'd see in my lifetime, or for that matter, anyone's lifetime. And he's played really well. Shaheed's really helped a lot. Kamara looks like he's found the fountain of youth. They, in my opinion, deserve to be a baby favorite here, which is they are. They're laying about 2.5 points right now. Look, the thing is in that Eagles game, Anthony, even if they won the game against Atlanta, and it's funny, that's one thing that, again, is sports glamorous. People don't really look at the wins and losses, more so just how the game went itself. While I was impressed with certain aspects of the game offensively, Barkley looks really good. Jalen Hurts running looked a lot better. I still going back to the defense. I'm like, you know, if you misevaluate, now again, I don't know what you do, you're married to it. Like Jordan Davis, everyone's like, okay, he's a great, remember, like he's a great big guy. Everyone thinks, I don't know. Again, I always try to be objective. Are we sure that Jordan Davis is even adequate? Forget good. I don't really see Jordan Davis make these plays. I'm not trying to, N'Kobe Dean. Are we sure he's good? Nolan Smith, I'm pretty sure isn't good. Bryce Huff, who they gave the craziest sum of money to, you can't even do anything. And I'm like, if you misevaluate the entire defense, it's like, okay, what do you do, right? It almost seems like you need a complete facelift to the defense where it's like, I don't know. And I don't know, it's kind of like my favorite line ever was when Rick Pitino goes, McHale, Bird, and Parrish aren't walking through those doors. Well, Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Seth Joyner aren't walking through those doors. So, I'm saying to myself, okay, what can be done? Can it be schemed? Now, Fangio has been a guy who, whether you like him or don't like him, has had respect in the NFL as a
show. But I said the same thing. I come to the conclusion that the only person that can fix it or at least mask the great weakness is Fangio, right? Like you've been there for 30, been in the league for whatever, 40 years in the league. You've seen everything. It's up to him now to figure out a way to mask this defense, to somehow generate pressure, whether that's through blitzing, right? Whether it's through some exotic, calls. He's going to have to. The only thing is Fangio that can fix it.
Yeah, exactly right. Because look, you have what you have, so it's like, okay, scheme wise, can I figure out stuff to put the players I do have and put them in the best position they can maybe succeed in and whatnot. But man, again, there's really, I got to tell you, it's funny. You watch games, and again, when you watch a team that just can't stop anyone on defense, it's so disheartening. But then again, when you watch a team like they can't pass the ball like Bryce Young, that's disheartening too. But it's just like, gosh, like I had so much more higher hopes for the defense. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, Anthony, I saw Bryce Huff play like 16 games last year, and I could have sworn, on Bibles, this guy was the real deal with his 10 sacks. No, you have no idea how good he was. It's funny, a guy I work with, who I do podcasts with, he was telling me he's a huge Jet fan. He goes, biggest bust in the NFL by $1 million will be Bryce Huff. He goes, I will put my life on the line that Bryce Huff was a product of the system, and Bryce Huff will be the biggest bust. Yeah. And he goes, if you ever trust me on one thing, Bryce Huff is not even that good. He goes, the fact they gave him that money and the Jets are getting ripped for it is the most laughable thing I've seen. And I was like, well, is he sour grace? He's a huge Jets fan. But man, again, I'm trying not to overreact, but I mean, it doesn't seem like there's anything there.
It's funny. I give the fans a lot of credit because no one was excited over that signing.
You're right about
if you remember the town, the town was like, all right. Like it was I hope, because you saw it, right? You saw a guy, you go, part-time guy, right? Yeah. Pass rush specialist, give him a lot of money.
Coming from a good defensive system that's willing to let him go.
Like it's different than, Hassan Reddick coming from Arizona where he's misplay, he's miscast, right? The thing about Hassan was he wasn't being used correctly. Yeah. Well, Huff is a one-dimensional player that the only job was to get to the quarterback. And, on that line, with that front, that Jets front, I mean, we all had the same, I don't know.
Well, also, Anthony, we were spoiled here in VG. Like we had, for 12 years, 10 years, 11 years, I don't know what it was, Fletcher Cox here in the middle of the defense who, while he may not have been the elite Fletcher Cox that we saw the first 7 years, 8 years of his career, he was still like a solid foundational player that, wasn't going to embarrass himself out there. Right. And, and now, exactly. Now you're seeing, quite frankly, a defensive line that is getting embarrassed. Like I don't think it's almost like weird. Like it's like when you play one Mississippi in football with your friends, 2 Mississippi, they're playing like 6 Mississippi.
Brad, NFL, they're giving up 6.5 yards per carry. I mean, that's crazy.
Dude, it really, again, now you have to say to yourself, okay, also, but this is why, again, your Fangio comes in as a 30-year vet or whatever. It is incumbent upon him. And again, I mean, look, he has to say, okay, what can I, if you tell your wife, here's this budget for the month, right? And she wants to go blow it at Tiffany's in one day. All right, well, the rest of the month, you're eating at McDonald's, right? Here's what you have, okay? This is what you have. So it's not like he's just not going to be able to go off the street and get maybe players who he's, oh, God, I wish we had so. This is what you have. So you have to, hopefully scheme-wise, schematic-wise. Look, Anthony, we saw one of your good friends, Spagnola. No one ever said they had the best personnel, but he wins Super Bowl every freaking year. And so, I mean, it can be done, in my opinion, if you put guys in the right spots. And I think he's a perfect example of that.
Calls, like your defensive play calls, you're going to have to win matchups, right? Like the DC versus the OC. You're going to have to, Fangio's going to have to win. And what I mean by that is he's going to have to call correctly. Like, am I selling out this play against the run, right, to try to put teams in passing situations so I can then blitz and take a chance? Like, a lot of it's going to have to do with his own play calling and his defensive play calls. He's going to have to win. That's what I'm talking about. It's going to be like, it's that chess match. So much of it falls on his lap.
I also think, Andy, if I was, again, not that I ever would, but if I was ever running this team right now, I'd say, okay, if they do have A.J. Brown healthy, I'd say, listen, we have to win. We're going to have to win on offense, quite right. We're going to have to win scoring 30 a game. But I also, scoring 30 a game, is the trickier part, in a respectful manner where it's like, what I mean by that is not scoring too fast. I would want that defense on the field for as least possessions as possible, keep them whatever, even keeping them fresh helps, I don't even know, but I would want the game just to be like, all right, when we have the ball, we should score with our offense. And there's just going to be a lot of pressure, I think, on that offense to have to say, listen, we have to listen. We're going to have to win, like that Green Bay game. We're going to have to win 34, 29 games. That's what we're going to have to do. 21 points last week against Atlanta. That's just not going to get it done with the defense that we have. We need to score 27 plus, really, to put ourselves in position to win.
Man, especially against a team like New Orleans and Tampa.
For sure.
Right? Like Tampa, same thing. All right, buddy. Who do you got tonight? And I don't want to forget it, Red October, because the Phillies and Wheeler, he's the gift that keeps giving once out of every 5 days.
Yeah, no, amazing. 100% amazing. Look, Anthony, a couple things for tonight. Tariq Skubal, 17.5 outs, 25-4. Teams a game and a half out of the playoffs, which is crazy. I made one of my biggest bets before the year they would not make the playoffs. I cashed that ticket 3 months ago thinking there's a 0% chance. They've gone like 20-4 the last 24 games, this team. I shaking my head, but Tariq Skubal gets, there's the 11th commandment. Tariq Skubal will get his 18 outs. He'll get his 6 innings pitch. Don't understand that line. To me, that's, I hate saying free money, but that seems pretty close to free to me. Bryce Miller, Seattle, over 15.5 outs, Anthony. 21-7 this year. Been really consistent. I think he'll get 16 outs even against a decent Yankees lineup for sure. Last one, Tanner Houck, over 4.5 strikeouts. 18-10. Also, Anthony, I know you're a huge matchup guy. Kent Bate's been striking out a ton. He usually gets his 6 innings, Tanner Houck. I say he gets 5+ strikeouts.
I like it. Any Phillies? Any thought on the Phils?
You know, it's funny. Freddie Peralta for the Brewers, I actually lean under 17.5 outs. He's been going under most games in general. I respect the Phillies lineup a bunch. I can see them making him throw a lot of pitches. I say he does not be like Tariq Skubal and does not get his 6 innings tonight.
I like that because he's been throwing a ton of pitches lately.
He throws a ton of pitches and he gets in jams.
Yeah.
And the Phillies make you work.
They're ready to clinch. So
before I let you run, Anthony, would you say Kyle Schwarber's like this team's Darren Dalton?
Yes, great comp. He's a soul guy. Dalton was the soul of that '93 team, and Schwarber's the soul of this clubhouse. Man, everybody loves him. I think it's a great comp. Great comp.
Yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
You're the man, Brain.
See you, Brad.
Be good.
There he is. Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. The analyst. The Brain. All right. And he's a hell of a handicapper, that's for sure.
That lines up to 3. That kind of worries me now.
Yeah, I mean, like we expected it to go up, right? Like we thought that would be the case. Let's talk about the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app for a second because they got you covered. Everything we talk about, like right now, if you're looking for value to jump on games for the weekend, college on Saturday, NFL on the Thursday, and on Sunday. Join me now, right, on the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app, the only online casino sportsbook that we all recommend and use. Bet Parks has your seat with a live dealer, also with your favorite classic casino games right on your phone. I'm looking at it right now. You can play live dealer blackjack, craps, roulette. While you're watching the game, you can bet on all your favorite sports, right? Pro football, college football, baseball. Make your downtime fun time. Download the Bet Parks app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Play hundreds of exciting online slots. How about the new Peaky Blinders slot game? Peaky Blinders.
Oh, that's you, man.
I love it. Based on the TV show. That's really cool. New users download the Bet Parks online casino app now. Get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Bet Parks. And we're brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. In fact, I got a call yesterday morning from Kelly Body.
How's she handling
the CEO of TrueMark, and she's beside herself.
Yeah.
She's one of those Eagle fans that is just rabid, right? Like she can't sleep. She's like, I haven't slept. I've been up all night pacing. She's like, my husband told me to go to bed, and I haven't gone to bed. I just pace, and I can't figure out what they were doing. Kelly's awesome. But it goes back to like what they provide at TrueMark. It's a complete local Philadelphia experience, right? It's a community experience. It really is interesting. TrueMark Financial, you become part owner, all right, when you join a credit union like that. which means profits come back to you instead of going to shareholders. You get better rates, you get lower fees, you get a better return on savings, and you get more flexible options. All the same digital tools and tech to make our lives easier. TrueMark, local roots, headquartered in Fort Washington, 24 branches in the Philadelphia area. They serve our community and our people right here at home. Becoming a member of a credit union, so many benefits over becoming a member of a bank, customer at a bank. It's a no-brainer. Head over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's truemark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. 10 o'clock hour as we hit on this Wednesday. Man, oh man. Yeah. Well, brought to us by Rite Aid.
Yeah, Rite Aid.
We need our all of our local stuff, goods and scripts and whatever. You get it at Rite Aid. Now joining us, I love Wednesdays for one reason.
Yeah, I look forward to this.
We love him.
Yeah.
And he lives and breathes Philadelphia sports. And he is the preeminent college football man at ESPN, ABC. He's the great Kevin DeGandhi. Kevin!
He's always got good swag on. Randall? Nice.
Dude, we got a lot we have a lot to kind of unwrap here. First, let me congratulate you on the anniversary at ESPN.
Oh, thanks. It's crazy. 18 years, especially in this business, to have a ridiculous dream. I'm pretty grateful. And when I first got to ESPN, people, were asking me, how does it feel? And you're kind of like, this is surreal and crazy because I had this dream as a 14-year-old kid to be the first Indian American at ESPN, and then to realize that 17 years later. And then, so when I was 31 and I got there, the way I could describe the situation was, it's like your whole life is based on climbing to the top of Mount Everest. And you get to the top of Mount Everest, and then you look around and say, what the hell do I do now? I've done it, right? But it's been harder. I think anybody can relate to this. Once you break through and you realize a certain dream, now you've got to stay. It's harder to stay and maintain, especially in this media landscape over the last 20 years, how much has changed and what's the priority. I mean, like, Twitter wasn't even invented. Social media wasn't even relevant. And, IG and, TikTok and all that stuff. So to stay relevant, podcasts, right? Like to still be there while we've changed so much, what our viewing habits are, I'm pretty grateful. A day doesn't go by where I just sit back and say, let's just sit around and just smell the thin air up at the top and make sure you stay there.
Well, what makes you great is you love it. You're passionate. So, of course, you're knowledgeable because it's something that you live it. You have to live it every day. And if it's not for everyone. Some people, you like it's a hobby, right? But you got to live it, and it's a vocation.
You're right.
It chooses you.
100%. Like, when you step away and you go on vacation, I'm not. Like, I'm looking at my social media to make sure I'm still in the loop, not because I have to, it's because I want to. I want to consume, and my wife sometimes is like, you need a break? And I'm like, I don't ever think about it. This is kind of my outlet. I'm lucky that this is my outlet.
I know. People say to me sometimes, they'll go, hey, you must be tired about talking sports. I'm like, no, actually, I'm not.
I'm not.
I mean,
No.
I love it. So I'll talk to you all day long. I'll talk to the phone.
Yeah. And here's the difference, though, man. Here's the difference, though. I think you can relate, and all the guys can relate to this. I don't mind talking sports. It's just making sure that the audience and who you're talking to is informed, and not. I'm not about all the takes that are just like, God, this just what are we doing? I don't mind takes as long as there's back and if you believe it. But we've gotten to that point. There's sometimes we just say things, see if it sticks on a wall. I don't care for that. What I care for is really good discussion and where I could learn, and at the same time where I could vent. Right, like with people that understand the nuance of the sport we're following or the teams that we're following, and they get it. And then I asked this one thing. My cousin asked me this the other day, and it really stuck with me. And he goes, "So after 18 years, what fills your cup?" And it was like, whoa, that's actually a really good question. And you did this in the intro kindly. What fills my cup is, Saturdays in studio, 12, 14 hours, working with Booger, working with Robert Lemley, who's my producer for the last 8 years, talking college football constantly. And you're immersed in that. What fills my cup, working with El Duncan every single day, like getting the chance to do certain things that are different, I've been really lucky to make sure it's always interesting, and that's what fills my cup. So I ask anybody out there, what fills your cup when you're doing something, when you're doing a job, when you're doing something in life that you're putting in 8 to 10 hours? If that fills your cup, then it doesn't feel like a job.
So it wasn't a job Monday night because you're in for
done.
life.
Yeah.
Let's unwrap it. Give me 50,000 foot. Let's talk. Like, what do you, after sleeping on it, what really gnaws at you?
The identity of this football team is that offensive line and the physicality. And when they were successful, they ran the football. And I understand the pass sets up the run. I understand, the NFL has changed so much. They do a great job. But when this team kind of was revived and had their dominant run, it's because they could dominate the line and they could push the line. The line's not like what it was in 2022. But if that's your strength and you don't have A.J. Brown, you run the damn football on 3rd and 3, and you make the other team panic. You don't panic. You don't make it easier for them. And I understand the play call was right, but the common sense thing is mistakes can happen. Do the thing that you do well. If you can get in 4th and short and 4th and 1, you do. No one does it better. You do the tush push, and it was working Monday night. You do that 4th and 1 tush push. So if you pick up a yard or two and you saw the way the quarterback was running with the football, I felt really good. You stay in control and you're not giving up control, right? So the play call could have been perfect, and Saquon's got to catch that, we understand. But why put it in that position?
Yes.
Let's run the damn freaking football.
Yeah.
And time off the clock and put the Falcons in a bad spot, no matter what. And if the Falcons have to get the ball inside the 5, and then guess what? Let's just say you go for it on 4th down, you get stopped. The Falcons are no longer trying to win the game. The Falcons are trying to tie the game and force it into overtime. That just happens. And now they have less than a minute to go. And they've got to still go from the back end of their end zone there to try to move that, right? So to me, I don't understand, and I've said this to you multiple times here in the offseason. They decided to keep Nick Sirianni. Why are we keeping Nick Sirianni? Where does he make you better? If he's not controlling the offense, he's not controlling the defense. The decision-making of Nick Sirianni is why he's the head coach. What is the identity of Nick Sirianni in his approach? Because in the beginning, you don't kick that field goal, and then you get conservative halfway through the game on another big decision, and then late, you decide, hey, you know what? We're just going to throw the ball there. What is Nick Sirianni bringing to the team to make them a better team?
You know what's weird about the whole thing? So first of all, Kellen Moore is calling the plays, right? So that's not Sirianni, that's Kellen Moore.
No, I will bring this up in the sense of if Kellen Moore knew what they were doing on 4th down, then he's passing. Like if he knew that, hey, we're going for it on 4th down, then I think Kellen Moore calls a different play. And I think Sirianni makes
I don't. I think he knew. Like, listen, I think it goes without saying that it's 4th and 1. They're going to go for it. I mean, the tush push was working. So I think he called that play because he thought that play would work. I mean, I truly believe that. But the other thing, I'm just talking about Sirianni for a second. It's interesting because the other thing is the analytics from the Eagles is so strong, right?
Very strong.
That he's not even making half those decisions. Like it's the numbers that are making those decisions. Like I agree with you. Like, hey, I mean, I would have taken the points early. And it's only because of this. you already saw a couple drives go by. You kind of got the feeling of the game, right? That between Bijan and Barkley, it was going to be a run-heavy game. So points were going to matter. And
Yes.
I would have taken the points because if it's Kansas City or if it's New Orleans this week, I had no problem going for a touchdown there. But knowing the feel of the game, which is what analytics, it's not in the component. You got to feel it. Like, what the game is going to be like.
Yep.
So that's my biggest issue. But I want to throw this at you because my biggest takeaway today has nothing to do with all that because they're all good football arguments. It has to do with the defense.
I knew you were there. And that was going to be my next thing. Like, I had to get the third and short decision out of the way. They can't stop anybody. This defensive line is awful. And here's the other thing that I didn't understand with Vic Fangio. I couldn't understand it. And Joe Buck said it so many times. There was no pass rush on Kirk Cousins. So if that 4 can't get a pass rush, and that guy's a statue back there, how are you not blitzing? How are you not consistently trying to find extra pressure on him if the 4 can't do it? And it's just not working. To me, specifically with Kirk Cousins, especially with the week 1 tape. Now, week 1 is different to a certain extent because of the personnel for the Steelers, and TJ Watt is one of the baddest dudes on the planet when it comes to playing football. But you cannot apply pressure. You need to bring in extra pressure, an extra defender on those blitzes to make Kirk Cousins move. And the idea that Kirk Cousins can do whatever he wants was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And the other thing, like, why don't you call a timeout on that drive where they're going 70 yards? Hey, do not let them go out of bounds. No matter what, we're playing prevent. Do keep them in bounds if you're going to do that. And I couldn't get over the space on that prevent. Clearly, they picked on a rookie in Quignon, but I could not get over the idea that, hey, they're going to go out of bounds. And they kept on doing it. That's just maddening to me. I don't know what the ends are doing. I don't know what the Georgia kids are doing. They're not getting better. I don't see any of them progressing. I just don't know what's going on with the entire defensive mentality because it looked exactly like last year, late in the year.
It's my takeaway. I wake up thinking about it. Like all the other stuffs I watch, right? I mean, their offense will be all right. A.J. Brown come back, and they're going to put up points. But it comes down to whether or not you can get any stops, pressures. They're not even good against the run. Like so, it's both run, pass. They're struggling, and I'm with you. I said it all day yesterday. How in the world do you not pressure? You got a quarterback coming off an Achilles who's admittedly not feeling right, and you give him a clean pocket, and he blitz one time, and I get it. Moody scores the touchdown. There was a missed tackle, and he goes the distance. You can't coach afraid, not in this league. And I know in his mind is, all right, well, they got no timeouts. They have to go to the length of the field, so we're going to keep everything in front of us. Okay, well, that only works if you got a stout, right? A stout secondary that's a veteran secondary, and you can get some sort of press. At least move. I'm not saying a sack, but at least get a hurried quarterback. If he sits there all day long, I don't care how good your second corners are. He's going to pick you apart.
And bottom line is Brandon Graham is 36 years old, and we love BG. He should not be the guy that's the only one we see consistently in the backfield. Yeah. It's unbelievable that – and I love BG. And at one point, my heart was breaking for him watching that game. I was like, this is the only guy that's back there, and he should be back there on every possession, like, or every snap. Like, somebody has to help him. I don't know what's going on with the ends. I don't know why they can't find a way, and it is extremely frustrating, and it's not going to get better. That's the problem when you look at the personnel. It's just not going to get better. Where's the development with again, you put in a lot with Jordan Davis. You put in a lot. I like Jalen Carter a lot. And
he's a player. Like you could see,
first game, the motor was there, you know.
and
And
you
so
can see he's also getting doubled a ton.
you're 100% right. And where's Jordan Davis? Like, I think it's a question we've been asking a lot. Where's Nolan Smith?
Well, let me ask you, because
where's
nobody
Bryce
knows
Huff?
college football.
Like, you spent all that money. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I want to ask you because nobody knows college football like you, and you covered that Georgia team intimately. You broke them down, and I was talking about it with VG earlier. One of the things is with that program at that time, they have an endless supply of blue chip talent that they want to rotate in, and so the snap counts are never heavy, and you're on the field with a bunch of other studs. So Nolan Smith has the benefit of an end opposite him and a couple tackles that are behemoths, right? So you're going to be singled up against a college tackle that you can beat off the edge. And how does this all translate to the NFL? I'll ask you, go individually and throw Nakobe Dean in there too.
Nakobe Dean, Keely Ringo. At one point, I actually asked, assigned the safety, the first round pick. He was just recently cut. I asked, and he was a Georgia star. I asked Dan Orlovsky in a commercial break yesterday before we had him on, and I was like, "Is it just Kirby's system? Like, where? I mean, they got a stud safety in Malachi Starks, like a stud safety that's playing right now." And I don't think it's fair to discount how good he is with the previous play of Georgia, but of the Georgia players translating to the NFL. But I was like, is this more about the system and the scheme? And to your point, it very much could be they're fresher because they don't have to play consistently on every down because it was like, hey, let's just cycle in guys. We have so much depth. That's who we are. We get all the 5-star recruits and the depth can keep on coming in and out and in and out. And you may be onto something with that because it's hard to explain how did we see the peak with some of these guys? Where's the development? Is anybody being pushed, continue to be pushed, and a demand of certain things? Hey, you need, and I know Fletch and BG were trying to teach the Georgia dogs up front, hey, this is how we do things here in Philadelphia. At a certain point, they've got to take over. Jalen Carter, I think, is a special talent. And I actually am not panic about Jalen Carter. I'm more concerned about Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith. And there's a reason why Nakobe Dean dropped to the third round, injuries and being a little bit undersized. He's trying. I don't know if he could just win every matchup. And Keely Ringo, I really thought was going to be – I thought it was a steal in the fourth round. We're not seeing it translate. So – I don't know if there's somebody that can get to them or if there's a scheme right now that's an issue. Guess who's going through that right now? The Carolina Panthers. And I bring this up because Bryce Young was the product of a system. And I liked Bryce Young. I think a lot of people did. I think he got a raw job in Carolina when you look at the ownership and how awful the structure's been the last 2 years and the coaching influx and no line. And now he's kind of a freaked guy. But one of the things that enhanced him where you overlook the lack of size and maybe the natural arm strength was look at his surroundings, look at the staff he was with, look at all the playmakers around him. You saw that with Mac Jones specifically at Alabama as well. So maybe you are getting a little confused here on seeing these guys playing in these structured, organized, well-done factories of talent. And then you look better than what you're actually producing when you're on your own on this island in the NFL. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I feel you on it because, there has to be something that is the reason why you got I loved Carter, and I don't worry about him like you. Davis is the one that I was always on the fence with because I got how we saw him, but it was always like, can this kid become a kid that can play in passing downs, right? We all saw his raw power, but he's got to do what he's killing them. I mean, he's killing them. And you know who else is killing them? Josh Sweat. I need more out of you, dude. I do. We know about Huff, and we know he's a half a disaster. But Josh Sweat, I need you to step up.
And I don't understand it. And you could see the quotes after the game, Sweat's fully aware. He's frustrated. One of the things that Sweat said that I thought was interesting was we need to believe in each other, and basically talked about having faith in each other. Like, it feels like there's a lot of individual, I've got to do something, and no one's doing their job in the system to free up a stunt, to free up a guy. Hey, you do this. I got to do this. Don't just, hey, I got to go get the quarterback. There's a reason why we're doing this. And it felt, if you look at Sweat's quotes, it was like, no one's on the same page here. There's no selfless approach here on this line right now. It feels like I got to get mine and that's it. And as a result, you got 4 individuals instead of 4 guys running like a team on the game plan.
Can Fangio, like, to me, the only hope is that Fangio is going to have to win whatever chess match against an OC. He's going to have to call right plays at the right time. So it's that. And then he's going to have to change a little bit and adapt the system. And he's going to have to bring pressure.
That's the thing. And you said, can Fangio, and I know where you were going there. And my first thought was, I've got doubts because that not overtime, that final drive, like, at a certain point, you could see if something's not working and you've got to make an in-game adjustment, not the next game, because you have a new quarterback in the next game. You've got to make an in-game adjustment. And we didn't see an in-game adjustment later in the game when they needed it, when they were like, enough, we've got to apply pressure, right? It's concerning, man. It really is concerning. And to your point, at the start of this conversation, the defense is the biggest concern more than anything else. Because I think the offense will find a way to get back on track. They're just too good. If we see Jalen the way we saw Jalen that night, Monday night looked like 2022 Jalen. A little too much. I want the contact, which I was like, watch that shit, man. What are you doing? We don't need to do this like the Bears game,
My only Jalen gripe, let's see what you think of this, is, dude, you had 2 timeouts.
Yes.
And all you needed was 14 yards to get a credible chance, right? For Elliott.
Yes.
And you throw that. It was a horrible decision.
You force it.
There's
You
no
force
need.
it. And everybody in the stadium knew he was going to Devontae Smith. And if you watch the play, it feels like Devontae clears out because he has the safety coming up. So Covey's there underneath. And they found Covey multiple times in the offense, so it wasn't like a surprise. Covey played a major role without A.J. Brown. It felt like Covey was underneath with Devontae drawing the attention on that throw. Before the throw was made, Covey's open. And you just sit there and you're like, what are we doing? This is the Seattle game all over again. All we need is 15 yards because you've got a reliable kicker. And let's just kick this game, this field goal, because we all felt like, hey, Jake Elliott's going to make it. And then we'll recover and then we'll diagnose how awful this was. But to force that throw in that situation, you don't need to be Superman.
No.
Hey, Kev, you bringing up the Sweat quotes. You're like on to something. We have those Sweat quotes are weird. We have Jalen Carter's late to a team activity. And I don't know if you read after the game, the players addressed each other in the locker room, not the coaches. So something just seems really like off right now with what's going on.
You know, VG, what this feels like? This feels like 2023 all over again. Like,
it does.
Before the game, somebody asked me, how you feeling? A good friend of mine who's not an Eagles fan, but he knows how much I love the team. He goes, how you feeling? I said, I don't know how to feel. I said, my approach has been completely like, after last year's collapse, I can't feel anything till they show me something. So it's hard to feel anything with this team after you kind of go numb. I think the entire fan base went numb in the final 5 to 6 games because of the effort, right? And it's the same like vibe, right? Especially on the defensive side. There's just a different that you can't put your finger on it, where there's just like, what are we doing? There's no way after week 2 you should have a players only conversation in the locker room. That there's just no way. They're like that's what the entire summer was all about, the off season of figuring things out. So I don't have a feel for this team right now. I don't think it's fair for anybody to have a feel for this team. The only vibe is like, have we shaken off what everything was last year about that collapse. And that was not so much about talent. That was just what's going on when the doors are closed in that locker room. It's really hard to kind of place and put a finger on it. And I don't know. We started this
You're
conversation.
not alone because I had texted Anth. I went down to the tailgates in the parking lots, and it was compared to normal, it was dead. Everyone was like, "Man, where's everybody at today?" It was like a really sparse, like tailgate for the first home game. It was surprising.
Yeah, because I think we're all still like licking our wounds. There's a PTSD roll here where it's like, especially how well they looked in 2022. They felt like a team. You got that buzz in 2017, right? Like they like each other. Everybody likes each other. There's accountability with this team, right? There's just a weird vibe with the team right now. And then the way they collapsed the final 2 minutes just brought back all of what we saw in the final 2 months of last year. Just bewilderment. You could change the coaching when it comes to the DC, but still like what the heck is going on? And I don't know if we're going to get those answers, especially the next 2 weeks when you're on the road against the Saints and the Bucks. Good gosh.
I know.
How about speaking of good vibes, what's it like being around New Yorkers when the Phils took care of the Mets?
It was funny. I was going to tell you, where does everybody like each other? In the Phillies clubhouse. That's where everybody likes each other. I mean, you see the vibe, and it's just a beautiful thing.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it's been going on for 3 years straight. Like there's accountability. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Accountability with the superstar who's like, "Hey, I screwed up," and then he responds, with those three doubles and the extra base hits. Like, where's the accountability? I just don't know. And I was really concerned that when you have Fletcher Cox and you have Jason Kelsey in that locker room, and you have Brandon Graham, and you have Lane Johnson, and it felt like the message wasn't being sent to everybody, or the message was just ignored last year late in the season. I got that vibe after talking to a lot of people in the aftermath. And where's the accountability? Some of these young guys have to have some accountability for what they're doing on the field on every single play.
That goes back to coaching and Sirianni. You're spot on.
And I don't want to, and I'm going to do it when I say this. I know I'm going to do this when I say this. You think that happens if Bill Belichick's in that locker room?
Of course not. Of course not. No. We were talking about it earlier. You look up, it's an overcast, kind of drizzly morning, right, in Philadelphia. If you look up and you stare at the sky, you look at the clouds, and if you look closely enough, you'll see Belichick's head over top Lincoln Financial Field.
Dun, 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 dun.
And by the way, if you guys get the chance on YouTube, go find it. There's clips too on social media. Find Belichick watching with the Mannings and the Manning cast.
I saw it.
Watch it. It's an interesting one.
I saw it. He's right there. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's sitting there. And it goes back to, I said this early, like in the summertime, after the story came out on ESPN about the whole last year and everything. It's like, why Belichick should be here now? Like why even have messed with putting Nick through it? And if I was Nick too, I don't want to be neutered. Like, I'm an offensive guy, and all of a sudden now I got to be coach CEO, coach culture, like Ted Lasso.
Okay. And you nailed it with that word, right? I think it's human nature. How are we as kids, and even our kids, when we would have the substitute teacher in, and you're like, what are you going to do? You can't do anything to me, right? Like, and those days are like, I'm not going to hold myself accountable because you can't hold me accountable, right? I'm not saying it's just the way everything was set up, where it was a week after the season, and it hung in the balance, and the decision comes that Kellen Moore's running the offense, Vic Fangio is running the defense, and then you're like, okay, so what does Nick Sirianni do? At a certain point, it's like, wait a second, we don't even need to make assumptions. We could just see how the players are responding. Are they responding to him? And again, if 2 games you're going to come to a conclusion, okay, I kind of want to see how things are handled over the next 2 weeks
Yeah.
and with adverse situations on the road,
Yeah,
right?
his adversity is real. You're
Yeah.
spot on. Hey, real quick, last thing. One college football thing, and then we get to VG's unveiling. University of Tennessee did something really interesting. They're raising their ticket prices, and they're calling it a performance fee that goes
Players fee. Yeah.
right. That
Players.
goes directly to the players. This is an interesting kind of concept.
So Pete Thamel was on with me last night. We brought it up, and Pete and I, Tennessee can roll this out because the timing. Hey, you're top 5 in the country.
Right.
Let's not forget revenue sharing's going to be a big deal. The other thing is, I just love how it's veiled as a player's fee. So now we've got to put this on the kids when you're just raising ticket prices, and I don't think that's fair to a group of 18 to 22-year-olds.
Agreed.
Players fee, and it only works when you and the program are going up, right? You think a player's fee introduction would work right now at Florida,
right,
or Florida State, right? It's the timing of it. Hey, we're doing really well. We've got Nico. Nico's our guy over the next 2 years. He's going to be the next, and he could be the next guy, right? And all signs look like that. The quarterback, Iamaliava. The thing is, what I find so interesting is the timing of this. And now I am sure there's going to be a lot of other programs watching. But don't forget, especially like a program like Tennessee, they've sold out everything. They have a surplus of money. And now you're adding this, you're just raising ticket prices. That's all.
That's it. You're spot on. All right, so it's our mission to make Philadelphia a college football town. We got VG's on board.
You guys gave me some teams to think about. I did some research, so I'm going to unveil. This is the unveiling. This is who we're rooting for this year.
Okay.
Yeah, Rocky Top.
Oh.
Yeah, baby. They got the Polynesian Player of the Year ready to go. Yeah, screw you guys. That ticket price is good money spent. Spend that 10%. Let's go, Rocky Top.
That's a great hat.
It's a nice hat, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, VG, just to let you know, your offense is awesome. The defense is damn freaking good. Tennessee's defense is really, really really good. One of those overlooked units around the country. So you may have made a pretty darn good selection here. Now the question
it's got nothing to do with the defense. It's all about that cool end zone painting and the song.
There's nothing. It's the greatest. Of all the stories I've ever did, my favorite. I spent 2 weeks in Knoxville. I went to school. I went to class with Peyton, and did a big series of stories for the New York Post, like a big Sunday kind of Peyton the next guy, and what life was like in Tennessee, and they were chasing the championship. Remember, T. Martin wins it after Peyton, and it was like this the immersion into the Vols culture outside, in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. It's just a great atmosphere. It's an unbelievable atmosphere.
And when Tennessee is good, that's good for the sport, right?
Yeah.
Tennessee's programs, when they are at the level of it's again when Notre Dame's doing well, when Florida State's doing, Miami's doing well. Now I have a big question here, VG. Is this a 1-year rental, or is this like the team that you're now?
Are you going to go back in the portal?
We'll go back in the portal. I'm a bowler. I'm a casual fan. I'm a bowler. So we go year to year.
I love it. And maybe that's the best approach here. The way, if you were a Florida State guy last year, I think you'd be
that's a problem
right now. Maybe it's a good approach.
It's so hard to be if you're a casual fan with the portal. It's so the variance from year to year
goes into the portal. It's the fan portal.
Yeah, I'm good.
Fan portal. I
kind of like that. We could do something with that, Kev. The fan
portal.
Yeah,
and by the way, good luck this weekend.
Big game against the Sooners.
Yeah, I got to go to Norman and deal with that environment. I think they'll be okay, though. So
nice.
this is going to be fun. I actually look forward to getting updates. And by the way, you can watch that game 7:30 prime time on ABC. We'll have the build up leading into the game, and we'll be at the half. Booger and I.
Yeah, that's part of the decision. It all went into the decision process. Ready for this weekend?
I like it. Hey, Friday night Huskers.
Yeah, and to your point, I'm having Matt Rule on the show today on SportsCenter. He's going to join me live.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right. I actually, and you guys will love this. I'm going to ask him also, does he have a favorite spot that he goes to? We knew that he had like an Italian joint that he loved in Philly before he would go to, on Fridays before game day. I'm going to ask him, hey, do you have a routine here? What do you do in Lincoln now? Have you found the place for you? What do you, and the whole program? And I'm going to ask him a lot about rebuilding. Why does it work for you in your third stop? And where are you in year 2? Because usually year 3 at Temple and Baylor is when he had double wins. Where are we in year 2, and why is Dylan Raiola kind of the next coming?
Well, there it is. After first game, he texted me, "We finally got a quarterback."
He did, and he's right, and he knows it too.
Yeah.
Damn right, he does.
Yeah, it's awesome. Kev, we'll be watching. Cannot wait. All right,
Appreciate
we love you. We love you, buddy.
Hey, BG.
Yeah.
Next week we're gonna have you. You're gonna have to sing the entire song, so you got to learn it this weekend.
Yes.
I'll be honest, Kevin. If they lose this week, I might have a different hat on next week.
No. You can only have one. You get for 1 year. You got to stay with the school for a year.
All right.
You got to sing the song.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, Kev. You're the
Fellas,
best.
be good.
See ya.
There he is, the great Kevin the Gandhi, joining us. We love Kevin.
He's great.
That's a great hat, dude. That's a great choice.
Well, I like the Flyers orange, Syracuse orange. I was like, I gotta go with the orange.
Yeah, that's actually a great hat, man. I do. I love it. All right. I do want to tell you about Parks Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem. The great Parks Casino. It's a blast. Well, the Bet Parks Pennsylvania Derby and Cotillion Day is this Saturday. It's a big party, man. 2 $1 million purses up for grabs. Live thoroughbred racing in Ben Salem. It's a fun time. This year's champion ambassadors, you ready? Phil Martelli, Brad Lidge, and Charlie Manuel. That's
nice.
Right. Gates open at 10 a.m. First live post at 11:35 a.m. Free family fun in the Picnic Grove. Pony rides, face painters, moon bounce, live music from Big Romeo, Uptown String Band, plus souvenir merchandise and food and beverage specials. I was there last year. I've been there a couple times. It is so much fun. You got to go there. It's a blast. The Bet Parks PA Derby is going to be broadcast live 4:30 to 6:30 on NBC Sports Philadelphia. It's so much fun. You gotta go check it out. You gotta be 18 to wager at Parks Racing, 21 for Parks Casino. You gotta get up to Ben Salem. The PA Derby, Bet Parks PA Derby is a blast.
I'm a Martelli fan.
Oh, I love Phil.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still one of the great treasures of Philadelphia and a great basketball man. Like,
hell yeah.
A great basketball coach, great basketball mind.
Mm-hmm.
Phil is always one of the best. All right. This portion of the program brought to us by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the credit union difference, TrueMark.com/PHLY. Joining us and to go over our fantasy. And I
need help so bad.
I got a story for him, too. He, of course, our fantasy expert, the Geek. Good morning, Geek.
What's going on, fellas?
How are you, buddy?
Little Wednesday action.
I got to tell you, Bryce, Geek is a Jets fan, and that Bryce Huff is making me just hate the Jets.
Oh, man. Jets, big weekend. Big weekend for the Jets last weekend. A win, finally.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. I just had to bring that up because Bryce Huff stinks. All right? Right. And you guys, Joe Douglas fleeced us. He let him go on a reason. He fleeced us.
Well, we're still upset about the D lineman who won't play, and I can't even recall
Hassan Reddick. I'd rather have Hassan Reddick sitting out than Bryce Huff playing.
It's better money spent. It's cheaper.
It is. I'd rather have Hassan Reddick on the sideline than sitting out, holding out.
No, you guys sent us a lemon. And that's what I think is going on here. You
A
sent us
lemon.
You knew what you're getting.
We think we sent you a lemon. What sort of rotten fruit did you send us?
What did you expect coming from the Jets? Is this a team where you think players should be plucked that are good? Let's win a game.
Oh my God, I hear you, buddy. So I got to tell you a quick story. The guy, I was hoping the guy would call today, but I think he's coming tomorrow. We got a guy who last week he entered the $20 million DraftKings contest. One ticket, $20. He took down the million.
Nice.
Week one or week two?
Last week, week 2.
So this past weekend.
This past weekend, this kid, what a story. One entry, $20, and he won the million.
You know what? It can happen. You have to be unique about your approach. It's happened before. I mean, obviously, it's super unlikely. It's a 1 in a million shot. It's a 1 in a million lotto ticket. But that, dreams are made, lives are changed. That happens in DFS. There's really that's why DFS continues to be popular. Even with sports betting, you don't have a chance to turn $5 into 50,000. That's really not what betting on sports is. But DFS is that way. So, be unique, be different, play Kyler Murray to a Marvin Harrison Jr., combo those two last weekend, take down $1 million prize. It could happen.
Well, he said the Geek is taking down big prizes, like monster, right? Like Geek has he has the Sharp app for all his props and all the betting, but he also has the DFS Army, which is a fascinating thing. No, it's awesome. Like, it's all about fantasy. Like, that's why we have him on, because he's unbelievable when it comes to fantasy and looking at players. You really are, man. You're like, you bore down into the numbers and the matchups, and you come up with a lot of gems, buddy.
This is all we do. You should have seen the amazing article one of my guys put out last week, actually talking about the matchups and really pointing actually to Marvin Harrison Jr. in that combination, which is what won the $1 million. So we have guys really diving deep into the stats. We spend a lot of money and do a lot of, software engineering based around pulling out and just having the best information we can get, analytics we can get on fantasy football. It works for props. It works for your fantasy football team, and it works for DFS especially. That's what we're doing all day. We have nothing else. I don't do anything else, guys.
That's why you're the best. You're the best. So let's look at it. First, who should everybody be gobbling up waiver wire?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of activity this weekend. And the biggest news on the waiver wire was, of course, Isaiah Pacheco, fibula fracture, 6 to 8 weeks. What am I doing? And I got a ton of calls this week and all over Twitter. And I'm going to basically, that one for me was actually a stay away. I don't think there's going to be a clear cut running back in Kansas City that will replace Pacheco. You're talking P. Ryan. He can pass protect, going to catch some passes. They like the kid, Carson Steele. I have him already on a lot of my benches just because that's what I do. I hold backup running backs on my bench. So I already had him, but I don't have a lot of high hopes for Carson Steele. But when the big question came in, Kevin, should I blow my fob on one of these guys? My answer is very simple. If you can't tell which of the two guys is the guy to blow your fob on, don't do it at all. It's a no. They're bringing in Kareem Hunt, who I don't think is in the kind of shape to make a difference on the team. So I'm staying away from that situation. And actually, the guy I picked up and who I recommend going on waivers to picking up if you can is Chuba Hubbard. And I'm going to tell you why. What happened with the Panthers up until now, right? Can't play offense, don't have a quarterback, have some, got a dwarf in there who can't throw the football at all, right? Can't see over the heads of the linemen. What do? They replaced him with Andy Dalton, a real NFL quarterback. So that team goes from unable to score, the running back looking terrible, to a real football team that will have an offense. And Chuba Hubbard is weirdly available on waivers because he was terrible the first couple weeks, but he's the exclusive running back from that team until, the rookie they drafted comes off of PUP. I don't worry about players on PUP. They don't come back as quickly as people think. I have some other pieces of important advice, though, guys. Here's another big one. Tua. I love Tua. I'm worried about Tua. He's on the IR. I'm worried about him long term, but even this IR stint, you took Tyreek Hill in round 1. You've lost your game this week. You're in trouble. I recommend trying to find a player in your league. Just get rid of Tyreek, trade him away. Get a third round, somebody they got in the third round. You got to get him off your team. And the reason is he still has name value. He still has I want Tyreek on my team value. But what if Tua is gone for the next 4 weeks minimum, and you're already out of the playoffs? You're done.
Right.
You're out.
Right.
Get rid of him. Trade him away. Get anything you can get. Get a rising player that maybe somebody got in the 5th or 6th round that is rising, that they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can flip, I got to think of the names, but I can flip this guy like Josh Jacobs for Tyreek Hill. That's a great one for me. You got to play checkers when they're playing chess. Okay, I got that backwards. I know. No, we're going to play.
Would you trade? Do you have Hill?
No, my receiver room is in trouble.
Oh yeah.
I have Puka and AJ Brown as my
you got
12th
Puka.
and 13th pick. Yeah, my
my
season is over in the one.
You're
league.
like the Rams. The Rams season's over.
Yes.
Cooper Kupp, Puka out. The
Yeah.
O-line decimated.
Yeah.
Poor
The
Matt
whole
Stafford.
What happened to the Rams? I mean, in one fell swoop, they have no wide receivers on the team, and they're finished. Just
And
like
no
that.
offensive line.
Yeah, brutal. And by the way, you're talking Puka 2nd round pick, Cooper Kupp 3rd round pick, right? How about Christian McCaffrey's gone for who knows how long?
And what does that do to Kyron Williams, who again with no O-line and no receivers? I mean, he's done.
Cannot rely on. They're not going to score. It's going to be hard for that team to get to the end zone. When teams don't score, the running back doesn't have a chance to run it in. You need one of the things I always talk about. You want running backs on teams that are favored to win the game and to score a lot of points. And you know what? You lose Kupp. When your team turns bad, that's the whole Chuba thing. He was on a bad team. He could be a good runner. I don't know, but he's on a bad team. They don't score. It's not gonna go well for him. You want favored running backs as much as possible in winning situations. And the minute you start getting these guys on teams that can't score, you're done. And Kyron's going to have a lot of trouble going forward.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a question in the chat. If Love is out, do you go Purdy or Levis? Oof.
Levis is unplayable, to be very clear. That should never even be a question. Of course, you play Purdy. Levis is unplayable. As a matter of fact, Levis is a benching risk at some point in the next few weeks.
How about is Braylon Allen a jet worth a pickup?
Yes, absolutely, but not a start. You want a player like Braylon Allen. I talk about this all the time. Braylon Allen is as premium of a backup as exists in the NFL right now, meaning just like with Jordan Mason, I told you, hold him on your bench. If Breece Hall gets hurt, Braylon Allen becomes an RB1 top 6 projection, whatever week he's the starter for.
Hey, Dave wants to know Rodgers versus the Patriots or Daniels versus the Bengals.
Yeah, Rodgers is not somebody you should ever play in fantasy football. To be very clear, that is not the kind of profile that you want to use on your fantasy football team. Unless I would rather play Sam Darnold. I'd rather play Daniel Jones and hope for the best. You're playing Jaden Daniels all day over Rodgers. Rodgers doesn't even belong on your bench unless you're in a super flex league where you have to hold every starting quarterback.
All right.
I'm a Jets fan, but listen, whatever. Jets fan. Rodgers doesn't put up fantasy production.
All right. Let's go through the positions.
Oh, I do.
Give us a couple of quarterbacks that you like this week.
This week, the big game, the exciting game. We have got the Cardinals at home taking on the Lions. And we want those quarterbacks. We want Kyler Murray in our lineup this week if you can get him. 52.5 point total. Just the game of the week right there. So that would be my top guy. I like Jalen Hurts in his spot. Got to come back. There's going to be a lot of scoring, hopefully, in that game. And I think teams, they just got to get it in the end zone, man. The Eagles were winning this game, and they just got to score 7. And I think Jalen needs to be a little bit looser with the legs. Get in there, run it. Don't.
He did a lot of it Monday night. Yeah.
I mean, he needs to run it in. There was a throw to Goddard where I thought he could just trot into the end zone. There was a couple of chances to score 7 where I just thought, he's trying to throw it. Just run it in, bro. Do it. But yes, I like Hurts in that spot very much. That's really one of the better spots. And of course, the Vikings look really interesting at home against the Houston. Houston has not been that good of a defense, so I think the Vikings can do some damage. And even Sam Darnold, Samwise,
I love the Texans this week.
Yeah, well, Texans.
I love the Texans will win by double digits.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I love Houston this week. Love them. How about running back?
Running back spot this week. Let's pull that up here. But for main side, I mean, obviously, we go right back to Bijan, Saquon, the big names. How about Alvin Kamara?
Yeah.
What a start! If you have Alvin Kamara on your team, you're winning. But at the low end, so if we're talking like DFS running backs, a little bit of like DFS plays, so to speak, where I'm including their salary as part of my considerations. The guy I'm looking at right now is Tony Pollard on the Titans, right? Possibility of Tajay Spears being out this week. Tony Pollard's kind of an exciting profile for a running back in terms of catching the ball, having a little explosiveness. And if he's going to get the full run against a Packers team that doesn't have a proper quarterback, I like that spot very much. I like
that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, we got 2 from the chat room. Xavier Worthy or Jerome Ford for a flex?
That is tough. I usually do like to go for the running back, but I'm a little worried about what I saw with Ford and D'Onta Foreman getting more carries last week. So I'll just go with Xavier Worthy this time and see what happens with Ford. I don't know I'm still trying to figure out why Foreman got so many carries last week. It's baffling.
All right, if you could pick 2, Pittman, Xavier Worthy, or Jameson Williams.
Pittman, Xavier, Jameson Williams for sure. And then I would go Pittman over Worthy. I like Worthy. It's funny. I love hearing all these people talking about it.
Here's why I love Worthy. Because you talk about the run game, all right? Andy will run Worthy.
I'd like to see some of that.
He'll get 4 or 5 carries, and not traditional carries, but end arounds. Like he'll be used. He'll get 4 or 5 touches where he's running the ball.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see Worthy just generally a little bit more involved. And by the way, Andy's not going to be able to lean on the run in this game. He's not going to have confidence in Carson Steele. Oh my goodness, if there's a fumble in the game too, it's going to go crazy. It's going to be a very interesting, few weeks as they figure out their running back position in KC.
By the way, Eddie Wright, my man, is, can I ever start Terry McLaurin again? Scary Terry.
Man, if you have to, but what we're discovering is he's not the alpha right now on that team. They're just spreading it around. So I would be looking to not start him unless I absolutely had to.
Yeah. All right. How do people get a hold of you? Because you always have something. And you have a sneaky receiver?
Sneaky receiver.
All right, whatever. Who you like?
I think the guys on the Rams have to be of interest because they're available and they have to throw. My notes for the Rams receivers was they got to throw to someone. At some point, they have to throw it to somebody. So maybe one of those guys. I was really excited to see what Drake London did. Finally, kind of getting some action. I like the way Kirk Cousins looked this past week. So I don't mind London against KC in that spot. KC no longer having sort of that elite secondary they had last year. And of course, the biggest, one of the bigger ones is Devontae Smith. I think Devontae Smith without A.J. Brown rises up to the conversation in terms of his fantasy production, right there with the Garrett Wilsons, the Harrison Juniors, and the Jamar Chases. Like he becomes the Slim Reaper. Love the Slim Reaper.
Yeah.
With no A.J. Brown in there, he's going to get volume. So that's one of my guys as well. And overall, one of the guys. So remember I said trade Tyreek Hill? I'm going to give you a name, actually. I just thought of one that you could probably get it done. Trade him for Godwin.
Okay.
Godwin. Yeah. The guy who has Godwin took him late, wasn't even sure he's a starter.
Yeah.
Now he's looking good first couple of weeks. He thinks he's fleecing you. That's the psychology. He thinks he's fleecing you, but you're fleecing him because Godwin is playing Cooper Kupp.
He's playing chess.
Yeah, we're playing checkers. Playing marbles over here. Godwin is playing the Cooper Kupp role in a McVay offense that has been brought to Tampa. That's what they're doing there. And so he's going to continue to have a volume-heavy role on that team. He wasn't looked at as anybody special going into the season. You get Tyreek, you're 0-2. Do something. Make the trade.
How do you get hold of you?
Get a hold of me at FFootballGeek on Twitter. Of course, I answer your questions. If you put I see everything. So at FFootballGeek on Twitter. Or if you're into DFS, of course, DFS Army, get signed up, get in our Discord, get all our tools and all our great stuff. And I know there's a lot of sports bettors here. The Sharp app is the tool for sports bettors. We have features on the Sharp app that do not exist anywhere else. You download it. Sharp.app is the website. You know, we're adding sports books. We'll have 70 sports books on the odds screen in the next couple of weeks. We are leveling up at the Sharp app. It is going to be the most competitive product in existence. Get in there now. 70 sports books, all the sharpest books, right there. All the sharpest books will be there. We are separating sharp books from non-sharp. We're finding EV opportunities. So there's a lot we have going on in Sharp app, sharp.app, or download the app at any time.
I love it. You're fantastic. Geek, we love you, buddy. Do me a favor. Next week, just for when you come on the show, put something over that Jets thing for me.
Please.
Because I see it, and it's like, I'm thinking Huff, and it just puts me in a bad way.
What about the Gators? Let me see my Gator sign. I'm a Gator now, too.
Put your Gator. Put your Florida Gator. He's got his Tennessee. That's good. We're SEC.
Yeah.
Do you put the Gator thing up over it, okay? We love you, buddy. Thanks, Geek. Geek is a realness.
Yo, Woj bomb.
I'm chomping at the bit to get to this.
What?
So, Adrian Wojnarowski, who I worked with back in the day, who's the preeminent NBA insider, is leaving.
What?
Yes, he's leaving.
Gonna miss the Woj bombs.
This is his own Woj bomb. He is now becoming the GM of St. Bonaventure University.
Men's basketball program. Yes.
So the way the whole NIL world works, and it goes back to our discussion about college football.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if Woj could be GM of St. Bonaventure, can't I be GM? Of whatever we do.
Temple. Bring me along.
But my only thing about Temple is they got to be all in on football.
Oh no, I'm talking basketball.
I want to be football. All right.
Wow.
I want to do football. As much as I love basketball. I would do basketball.
This is crazy.
But Woj becoming GM of St. Bonnie basketball. That's unreal.
That is crazy.
Right, JP?
I'm shocked right now.
I know.
Are they just thinking because his NBA connections, like he can sell that to kids? Come here.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, listen, it's that. I would love to do that.
Yeah. Wow.
Again, I want to do football, especially now that I'm all in on the youth sports.
Yeah.
I could build a football team.
Yeah. It's wild.
Wow.
That would be unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That's cool. That's a fun gig.
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh my God,
he's not glued to his phone 24 hours a day.
Listen.
So on the screen right now, I have you guys with the tweet that he actually put up.
This is great. Look at that.
Yeah.
You can read it. Read it. I can't say it.
Yeah. A little. I was trying to read it on the tweet, but I have my glasses.
That's
the font's terrible. It's
that's
like
unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe it. He's rolling, and he's making bank too. Like he's making bank. God bless.
Well, St. Bonnie's got that kind of cash.
Well, I mean, he's taking probably a massive pay cut.
I guess he's a St. Bonnie guy. He says at the end, after all these years reporting on everyone's teams, I'm heading back to my own.
That's genius.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Whoa.
Shams is now the top NBA insider.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Took the crown.
Yeah, he's got the crown. No, but I love Woj.
Yeah.
Woj's one of the greatest guys. He comes on the show. Well, I got to get him because
before he's full time.
I love this. I'm going to be angling for my new team. I want to build a college football program in the worst way.
By the way,
help me.
By the way, a lot of people loved your Westchester, Delaware, road stuff.
I think we got to do it. Westchester, road. People go, well, you're a Temple guy. And I go, yeah. By the way, thanks to our diehards, man. We love you guys. All right, we do. Here at PHLY, all the stuff that we do here, it's because of you guys, right? And it's only the reason why it works. So thank you. No, but people are saying, why not Temple? You're a Temple guy. And I go, yeah. But my problem with Temple is they got to be all in on football.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're not all in. Like
they're not all in on anything.
Right. Like I need you to be all in on football. And so I also need like a university that is looking to get to the next level. Right? Like that wants to go, you know what, we're all in. That's why I brought up Delaware to you. Westchester
moved from Division 2 to 1. That's what you need to orchestrate that.
Like Westchester would be great. Rowan, right? Like I know it's a bigger leap, but I got a lot of land. Like I need to get to that next level, and I need to build a stadium. Like I need big dollars because I need to build a stadium.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Right?
Yeah.
Like when Temple decided not to build the stadium, that was it.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're going to do football.
They've given up. They threw the towel.
But I want to go all in on football.
Oh, man.
All right?
Create a powerhouse.
I want to create the power. No, we can do it. Yes. I know. I see the level of talent across southeastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Well, not even that. You got Baldy. He's going to go internationally. All the best
I want to keep the kids at home.
All right.
Baldy's looking to dine on our ticket.
Yeah, he's looking to scout cheerleaders in Brazil.
Yeah, like he's like he's trying to go travel on our tab.
Yeah.
Like that's not happening. I'm not letting that happen.
Spags head coach here.
All right.
Ooh.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Actually, I got a couple candidates. I don't know that. I got a couple actually pretty good candidates that I think I can
Spags
get.
gets the 3-peats. Maybe he wants to dial it back a little bit.
We need Anthony Beck involved in there too, in the coaching staff in some way.
Dude, we could build a powerhouse.
Still does.
All right? Like, either that or we're just going to create our own school. All right?
That's tough.
Cuz University.
Cuz you. No. But it's too tough. That's too much of an undertaking. I need University of Delaware, Westchester, or Rowan to come on board and like I'm looking in 3 years to go and build this thing to become I want to be a top 25 program.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I got lofty expectations.
Yeah, right. Temper those expectations.
I want to take on Georgia.
Yeah.
Come on, Franklin. We're coming after you, buddy. This is great. Everybody, what'll do it for us. We're out of time. Have a great rest of your day. We love you guys. Don't forget, you miss any of the show, you can check it out. allphly.com, YouTube. Subscribe, please. That helps us when you subscribe. All right, on YouTube, and follow us on all social media channels. Thanks, everybody. We love you. Have a great day. We'll see you in the morning.